one thing I want to talk about, and the reason I really want to talk about it today is because these kids, when I was telling them about it, didn't know about it. These are 20-somethings. They didn't know. When I was a kid, yeah, I'd be sitting there watching, cartoons or whatever, the Three Stooges in the afternoon. And commercial would come on, and it would have a little white little baby seal with his nice black eyes, and all of a sudden this guy would come up behind him, and they'd show this animal being clubbed to death.
Yeah.
Back when they weren't worried about showing stuff like that on TV. And I remember being horrified. Of course, I'm an 8-year-old, I'm sitting there watching this. It's horrifying. As I grew up, I thought, well, for sure this must have gone away, this barbaric practice. There's no way they do that anymore. That seems like such an old time ago. And it's really only maybe 3 years ago that I found out that this is still going on.
Yeah.
And I'm horrified about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do about this?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this going on? How can this continue?
Well, killing of beautiful fur-bearing animals for their pelts as part of the fur industry is one of the problems that our movement has faced for a long time. We still face it. I personally was very moved by this issue, just like you were as a kid, but also after I was elected CEO of HSUS in 2004, one of my colleagues came into my office and said, the largest marine mammal slaughter in the world happens to the north of us. We're in Washington. Happens to the north in eastern Canada, in Atlantic Canada, where 400,000 harp seals and hooded seals are killed in an orgy of killing very soon after the babies are born in the spring. And I thought, well, this is going to be a tough fight because it's been going on for 250 years.
Right, it's part of the culture.
Part of the culture to a degree. It's part of the economic landscape in that part of the world. And I thought, well, we just have to take it on. This is a global market for fur. They're not using any of these pelts locally. They're not eating the animals. They're clubbing and shooting the babies. They're peeling their skin off.
Many times while they're alive.
Sometimes while they're alive, and then they're just leaving the carcasses to rot.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, this is one of these issues where, again, reason and logic is on our side. Any decent person is going to think that killing this helpless animal who can't swim yet, who can't run, and to have men coming to kill them for their fur, when we have natural fiber coats, we have fake fur coats, they can be just as warm, just as stylish. This is not a question of a coat not being sold or people not being warm. It's an equivalent amount of economic activity. It's just a question, we're going to support the folks who are, developing this coat in a more harmless way. We're going to support the people who are creating a coat, it's associated with a sort of cruelty and misery.
Yeah.
So for me, it was an easy choice. It's what one economist called this notion of creative destruction. You eliminate this horrible industry and you create something in its place that generates just as much economic activity, but also has all of this humanity and decency associated with it. So I think for me, ending the seal hunt is very important. We've closed markets in the European Union, all 28 nations, Russia, Mexico, of course the United States. So the government of Canada, which is trying to hawk these pelts all over the world, has nowhere to sell them. They're now buying the pelts and storing them in warehouses. So it's kind of like when we talked about meat waste. Well, this is seal coat waste. They're not even using these pelts yet. They're still killing them. I will tell you that when we started, they were killing 400,000 a year. Last year, they killed 100,000. The year before, it was only 37,000, still way too many. But we've saved in the years that we've done this more than 1 million seals. We're going to continue until it ends.
In 2006, you helped to push a bill through Congress that made the trade of, fake fur from China coming into the United States.
Well, there was a labeling issue. We've done a bunch of stuff, but we banned the sale of dog and cat fur because we don't think that dogs and cats should be killed in China or other parts of the world and have that fur come in as trim. But we also saw that with this global market in fur, they were mislabeling the garments. They were saying it was faux fur when it was real.
Exactly.
So it was a Truth in Fur Labeling Act that we passed in Congress to require all fur to be labeled by species and country of origin so consumers can at least make an informed decision, because a lot of people unwittingly were purchasing this fur and they didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.